Alrighty, everyone. I am so pumped for today. Hello, hello. It's been so long since I've seen you folks. It's been ages since I've streamed here. It is so good to see you, everybody. My name is VooDoo Val, and I am here to host yet another episode of CreaTips. Today is very, very special for many, many reasons. But before we dive into the specifics of the show and all of the awesome things that are happening here today, I would love to greet you all in the chat because we have so many friends and familiar faces here. I see Michael Fugoso. It's good to see you, my friend. How you doing, buddy? Thanks for joining us today. I see Jack Watson. Welcome in. Umacorn. I see Sam Peterson, the one and only. I see RB and Barbara. Gareth, welcome in. Oliver, hello, hello. It is good to see all of you folks again. If I'm seeing you for the first time today, it's good to see you for the day. Doc Reed, welcome in, Doc. It's good to see you. Alaz, welcome in. Thank you all so much for coming to hang out. So, what is CreaTips? If you folks are new to the show, have never seen this before, what we are going to be doing today is we have a topic set for the episode, and we are going to go over some really awesome pro tips from a featured industry professional who's going to kind of share their knowledge on the topic. I am going to share a resource that I have created for you today, and then we are going to put our heads together and work on a project together. You guys are more than welcome to join and to create some work and share it on Instagram with the hashtag, or on Twitter, wherever you prefer, because this show is all about learning all of the things that you folks want to learn to further your careers. These are episodes that are touching on the most asked questions that I see in the community all the time, and today's question of the day is, how do I create an exciting case study? And not just regular case studies, but how do we create case studies for different platforms like Instagram, for example? And helping me out today, offering some excellent advice, is the one and only Michael Fugoso, and I'm so pumped to have him here explaining what he does when he creates case studies, because, you know, we talk a lot here on Adobe Live about the creatives and designers that really inspire us, and Michael Fugoso is that for me. I admire him so much. I'm super excited that he is offering us advice today, and he has so much information he wanted to share today. Usually our videos are about a minute long, but today we've got 3 minutes of Michael Fugoso energy because honestly, I couldn't bear to cut anything out. This is a great video. So let's pop over and see what Michael has to say about creating exciting case studies, shall we? Let's pop on over.
All right, what's up, Adobe Live? Let's talk some case studies. I'll be honest, I don't really know what a case study is. I know the term was tossed around a ton in design school. I don't know, I guess I was just focused on the illustration side of things. But I've talked to VooDoo Val from Adobe Live, and she was telling me that this entire time I've been making case studies, like on Instagram, Behance, and we got a little success there. So I'm gonna give you some tips on how to make some awesome case studies. So first off, save the best for first. What do I mean by that? I mean your thumbnail, the first few pages should be the best parts of your case study visually. They should be so impressive that they'll hook the viewer like that, and also, you know, it'll make them want to see the rest of the presentation. I think the biggest mistake you can do is saving your best stuff for the very end, because if the first part of it is not very impressive, then they'll probably close that book, you know, before they even get to the best part. Ideally, you want everything to be super visually impressive, right? But if you had to choose, the best stuff should be at the very beginning. My second tip is think branding. You know, brand every case study that you do to the project. You don't need an overarching brand, you know, for every single case study that you do, but you can brand every individual project that you do. It's more fun that way. It just seems like a whole awesome package to the viewer. And if you have an overarching brand for all the projects you do, it's just very limiting. And if a viewer jumps from one of your projects to the next one, it's kind of like, you know, like, I've seen that already. All right, my third and last tip is to keep all text content short. Your titles, make your titles short because, you know, they look better that way, for one thing. And they get to the point faster. Mainly the paragraphs. I've seen some of these Behance presentations, Instagram posts, whatever, where the paragraphs are like novels. No one wants to read that. Maybe they do. And I think if you want to get someone to read something like that, again, start off by giving the viewer something impressive visually in the very first few pages or slides. And then once they get to that long paragraph, they have that incentive to read it because they want to see where those impressive visuals came from. Let's recap. Save the best for first. All your awesome stuff is in the beginning. 2, brand every individual case study that you do. 3, keep it all short and sweet. You know? All right, everybody. I know that was kind of short. But if you have questions, feel free to message me on the DMs on Instagram. You can get me on Behance too, but I would say most of the time I'm on Instagram. Not most of the time. I'm on Instagram more of the time than Behance, but I will get back to you either way. You know, I got you. Enjoy the rest of the show. You know, VooDoo Val is pretty awesome, so.
Oh, Michael, you're too kind. All right, let's pop back over here. So that, excellent tips, really, truly. Some of the best advice I have seen for case studies and things, and it really is good info to kind of get us going today. I have created something for you guys as well, which I will show you real quick. We are going to pop over and check out a little resource, which you can find in the description area below. So let's pop over here and take a look. So I have created a case study checklist for you. So Michael has come in with all of the great tips and tricks on the presentation and the showcase of all the stuff that you need to present in your case study. And my checklist is what you're actually supposed to put in it. You know, having that title, giving an introduction statement, the process of your work and showing off the process of the work, how to showcase, you know, all of the different things, ideas for what you can actually put in the showcase portion of your case study, how to end your case study, and bonus steps on how to find the resources, images, whatever it is that you're working on, how to take that content and transform it also into a pack of design assets you can use to decorate your case study. So we are going to dive into it. I am creating an honest case study for Instagram today using my own work. And so we're going to be working on a lot of the illustrations and things that I have created for a digital art project called Charm the Witch recently on Instagram. So I'm going to come over. What I've got set up here is I have a file that is the aspect ratio of the Instagram portrait size. And I'm actually going to, right quick, I am going to come in with my text tool and I'm going to put the dimensions here just so that you guys can see the dimensions. I'm going to just open that up right there, make that a little larger. And the dimensions for Instagram portrait are 1080 by 1350 pixels. That is the size for Instagram portraits. That is what this one is sized here. We've got our case study, and then I have my assets, which I'm super excited to create a showcase for. This is the Boatman's Lantern illustration for my magical, dark, spooky, witchy project. And what we're gonna do, if I come through here and kind of cycle through all of my assets and things that I've got to work with, let me pull up, I'm gonna just kind of expand my layers panel here so we can get a good look at it. I have got, if I hide, I'm gonna bring this image up here. I have got this little inventory page that I've been adding to. I've been creating illustrations for this project and then plugging them into Charm's little video game inventory. And every time I add a new illustration, I add this little star to that illustration in the slot so that we can see what is new, you know, what is going on in the project, what is brand new added, because as I start adding more things here, it can be confusing for people who are just coming into the project to kind of figure out what exactly is brand new here. So I've got that. Let me pop over here and show you what else I have. I've got a light colored background to work with for some interesting texture. And I also have a dark colored background, which is kind of just a darker version of our light colored background here to work with. So I've got those assets. I have some final images. I created a mandrake root illustration. We've got an amulet illustration. We've got the shovel blade illustration and the final for the boatman's lantern. And I also have an illustration of charm. And then I have all of these kind of isolated images of various items and things that I've been working on here so that as we dive into creating our case study, we can move things around. And I want to call attention to something that is in our resource here. So let's actually just review the full thing here. Love the game design look to these. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sam. And Doc, I'm glad that you have enjoyed it. I'm super, super proud of the illustrations I've created so far. And it's great that we are doing this episode because this is a learning experience for me as well, kind of getting some knowledge from Michael and combining it with what I know needs to be in a case study, because I've been looking for a more impactful way to present this body of work. Took a screenshot of that last pic and added it to the My People Draw folder. Yes, thank you, Sam, for posting the remixable template. I'm so glad that you love them, Michael. I've had a blast illustrating them. Alaz, welcome in. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for popping in. J. Mark Bowden, welcome in. Good to see you. Good to see you. Clever Devlin, hello. Alessandra, welcome back. It is good to see all you friends. All right, so step one. For what belongs in your case study. We want to create a title. Your title should grab attention, as Michael also said. Something bold and or matching the motif of your project. And this also comes into play as Michael was describing that if you have an overarching brand, you have a brand for your work on Instagram, on social media, for your personal presence, that's great. But if you want your case studies, especially when you're showcasing a body of work in any space, if you want them to be really visually impactful and grab attention, it shouldn't look like every other thing that you have on that platform. It should be unique. It should, just seeing that first slide or that first title image or whatever it is, be it maybe it's a case study cover on Behance, it should like kind of leap out as its own unique individual thing contained within itself and not, resemble tons of other stuff that you've done. So making that title match the overarching branding for the project, really good idea. And then I also said, bonus points if it echoes the design of your case study cover image. And this is for those of you who are making a case study on Behance, that first title right smack at the top of your page. If that's the same word mark or logo or whatever from your case study cover, very, very good for the impact. Step 2, introduction statement. Again, this idea that you don't want everything to be super, super long. Give your viewers a rundown of what you created and why. Should be no longer than a paragraph, but a short paragraph, really, because you want to inform people but not bore them. And Michael said, and I have said before, nobody wants to read that. If you want them to read that, then you're going to have to do some clever things with designing your case study to get them to the point where they feel invested enough to read it, but especially that very first paragraph, short, sweet, to the point. Process. Showcase your process. Show your audience how you planned. Did you create a mood board? Do you have process sketches of how you came to your final concept? Once you lock down your goal, how did you execute that plan? So if you go to show your process and you never quite know what to put in this place, which I've seen a lot of people say in the chat, here's some touch points where you can think, okay, I can go to my project and look at my assets and my layers and stuff and come up with these points that I can add. Some ideas to get you started: add process images with captions or create an interesting process GIF for your viewers to watch. That is always super, super great if you're posting on a platform where you can add little GIFs or videos or something instead of having this huge write-up of all your steps. You know, make a process GIF so that people will watch it over and over again because it's so interesting watching something come to life. The showcase for the body of work. This is kind of how I like to do things. Here's where you can compile a collection of pieces in your project. It's a good idea to single out some pieces from the bunch to call attention to some of your project highlights. You know, you don't want to just do this big dump of random images. You could do some tile galleries if you're doing things on Behance, but highlight some of your favorite pieces, some of the pieces you're the most proud of, some of the most impressive portions of your project, and really accent those slides, those posts, or that section of your case study with those highlights. It's really great to do that. Depending on what you are showcasing, mockups can also be a great way to help you help your audience visualize real-world application of your final product. So maybe you're not an illustrator. Maybe you are a graphic designer and you're designing a billboard or a t-shirt. Maybe you're a UI UX designer and you've designed an app. Put it on a phone, put it on a wall, put it on a hat, put it on a shirt. You know, do that, show people really the point you're getting across. And then I added a bonus step here. After arranging all of your artwork and information according to this guide, isolate some visual elements from your creations or choose some stock design elements to decorate your presentation. Things like section breaks, bullet points, borders, headers, footer designs. You know, incorporating these things can inspire even more excitement and interest for your viewers. So I have taken my own advice and I have taken Michael's advice, and this is what I have. So if I come over to my assets here, I'm going to go ahead and hide some of these final illustrations just so we have a solid background where we can look. So I have isolated some of these highlight pieces, and I'm going to choose one of them to be like a main highlight of my project. I think that I am most proud of the Boatman's Lantern. This one was so awesome. I'd like to create a diagram to show all the important thought and work I put into this, so we'll be definitely highlighting that. But I've also taken that little star bullet point from my image of the inventory that allows people to know this one is the new item, and that's going to be a bullet point design element throughout my case study. So it all kind of loops back in together and ties in together. So let's go ahead and start creating our slides, shall we? All the friends, yes indeed. Great tips. I'm so glad you think so, Alaz. I hope this helps you. So I'm gonna go ahead and snag up one of my background images. So let's go ahead here and I'm gonna grab my dark background image. And I guess another thing that I could do really is I have an empty library here. I could also start kind of dropping images into the library if I wanted, just so that I have some of the recurring elements kind of saved in a space. So I will, ooh, that was hidden, hold on. Let me go ahead and delete that one because I don't want that one. Let me unhide this and drag that. There we go. So we got our little star, we've got our backgrounds, and now I can come over and start to kind of piece this together. So let's come to the proper artboard. And the first thing that we need to do is make sure that we have a great title for the top of our post. So let's go ahead and I'm going to add this dark background. And I think, let's go ahead and just kind of stretch this out like so. I like that. I'm going to grab just a chunky font because we can make this interesting. Let's go ahead and change this to kind of a tan color, I think. Something that will match a lot of the other portions of our project. I'm just gonna kind of set that up. Another thing to think about, which would actually be really great, since this one is going to be something that I post to Instagram, and I'm doing the Instagram portrait size here. So what I want to do is make sure that my title and like the main important chunk of information for this first slide, this is going to be like the first page in the Instagram carousel, everything is centered because the images on Instagram, they show up as square. So it is going to crop the initial view of my image on Instagram when it shows on my timeline, on my profile. So I don't want anything super important to be cut off. So my title is going to be in the center here. And I am going to call this... we could call it Charm, but I've been saying what's in Charm's bag. So what's in, and I'm gonna make this small actually, and we're gonna put that up like that. And then we're gonna say Charms, and let's make this a little larger, like so. Boom, boom. Let's make sure that this is kind of aligned to the center here. And we'll bump this over. What's in Charm's satchel? So let's duplicate this. We'll align this with the end because I think that's kind of cool. And we'll say satchel. What's in Charm's satchel? Perfecto. I think that the font needs to be a little more whimsical. I need it to feel like, you know, magical in some way. So let's maybe think about using a different font. I do have kind of a magic-y font that I do like to use for stuff like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's select Charm and let's come up here to a lot of my things. I like this Tan Grandeur, which is pretty cool. That one's a good one. That could be interesting. Something like this. So Charm's name is fancy, and we can kind of bump these over. That could work. Another thing, let's go ahead and group these because we're designing and we're figuring this out. Actually, I duplicated them. I didn't group them. Let me group these ones. Boom. All right. Let's try a different one because I do have a few fonts that are a little funky, little crazy, you know. So let's do like Leviathan could be an interesting one. Let's change the font for that one. And I'm actually, that's Gravesend Sands. Let's do this. And then I'm going to come into my, because that font doesn't have an apostrophe. So I'm going to come into my properties here, and I'm just going to bump that up using an apostrophe from a different font because that looks good. So let's kind of downsize this a little bit and see what we get here. Very cool. This could be fun. It might be better as well to kind of make the peripheral font a smaller weight. So let's do like a thinner weight. I kind of like that. Let's also do the same thing to satchel. Charm satchel in light. I like that. I like the thickness of this, but I also do like this wiggly, because it's like, it's normal. It's a normal font with like some strange, you know, warping to it instead of being like a solid identical font with the same elements in each letter. So I might actually end up going with the first initial idea. I'll go ahead and hide that one. And let's see about making these a lightweight. Light and light. And let's go ahead and center this, shall we? I like it. I think this is super cool. What's in Charm Satchel? I do want to, is this centered to the end? Boom. Let's do that, and let's bump this one up. Let's bump this guy up just a little bit. I think that's good for me for now. You like this one more? Yeah, I think that it you know, it looks like, rather than it being like a super cool font, it looks like something's wrong with a regular font, which I think plays into like the whole project really well. So we'll call this title. That's kind of a cool title. I think it looks neat. I think that if I were to also upload this case study to Behance, that could be like a cool thing to put on the Behance case study thumbnail, which would be really cool. So we'll go ahead and say this is the title, and we can come back and kind of alter this a little bit. But what I really want to get into is the meat of the content presentation. So let's leave this one, and we'll come over and go ahead and add another artboard and see where we get. One of the things that I really like when it comes to case studies, especially the case studies that you post to Instagram, is the ability to scroll left and right and see kind of a connection between the different slides, like elements that are placed at the very border, half on and half off, so that it looks almost like you're just scrolling through one large piece of content. And I really like that. So I'd like to do something like this with our pieces here. So the first thing I want to do is, as an idea, let's grab, because Michael did say save the best for first. Maybe we do actually need to add one more thing to that poster, and that could be the lantern. I want to make sure that this is back here. Yeah! Let's throw this guy in here. I feel like we need to have, like, this big spooky thing happening, so that there's, like, something back here. And I wonder if we could, like, turn the fill down on it. I think that looks cool. I feel like you can still read it, but it has, like, a little taste of, like, something terrifying, you know, right there on the front page, and people would see this and think, oh, I'm definitely gonna swipe on this because I want to see what the heck that's all about. That could be really cool. If you're not first, you're last. What's in the movie from Homies? What's that movie from Homies? I can't remember, but I do remember hearing that. But I hope I'm making you proud here, Michael, adding this big spooky face right here, because I feel like if I saw this come through my timeline, I'd be like, okay, girl, what's happening? Let me see. I need to know. And I like that. Maybe we could also put like a by VooDoo Val or something, or, oh, I could add my, my logo actually. So let's come to one of my other, I've got your face in here, Michael. My branding, making posts about streaming with you. Let me see if I can find, yeah, like this one. My logo in the corner there. Let me come back to our CreaTips episode 4. Okay, let's throw the logo in there, because I feel like that's pretty cool. We can have this like kind of small and line that up like that, and just kind of have that maybe level with the chin. And then I will create a new layer, make that layer a clipping mask, and then I will grab this color and kind of throw that in there. I think that's cool. It might even be better if we could use like a darker color, so it's not so crazy, it's just kind of in there. That could be a cool idea. Okay, we'll leave that. We'll call this cover. So that's our cover artboard. And then here is where we're going to start presenting some information, finally. One of the first things, like I said, that I want to do is kind of create a swiping effect with some information from the post. So let's go ahead and add in this background, the light colored background. And I'm going to use this because the background itself has a lot of visual design elements that will make it obvious that there's kind of a swipe and the image is continuing. So what I want to do is take this and I want to expand this image until it kind of snaps to the center there, like the center point is right there on the image, and hit OK. And I then want to quickly, let's create, we're going to design 2 boards at once here. We're going to create another one over here, and I'm going to grab this, I'm going to duplicate it, just Control J or Command J if you're working on a Mac. And I'm going to transform, and I'm going to bring that corner to the end. like that. So it's gonna kind of feel like a swipe, you know, so one side is there, the other side is there, looking good. And then I am going to create a design element that can also overlap. So I do like the idea of having maybe some kind of directional design, which could be cool. So let's see what we can come up with. I think I'm going to grab my polygonal lasso tool. And I think I'm going to kind of draw something out. Something that is definitely prevalent in the art style is like, you know, these weird polygonal lasso tool shaped selections. So maybe we can do something like that. Some kind of wiggle and wave that kind of goes over. And they're kind of awkward shapes. Like, I've tried to do my best to make a lot of these shapes like really strange and like not totally symmetrical. So oops. I want to make sure that I hold shift so I'm adding to that. So let's come in and add another one. Something like this could be really, really cool. So there's just some of that, bringing in some of that motif from the boatman's eyes there. Could be cool. And then what I will do is, let's go ahead and paint bucket this in. I'm gonna grab this dark color from our background because that's kind of a reoccurring color here. Let's make a new layer and I will paint bucket this in. And it should have paint bucketed everything. So now if I duplicate this and bring it over here, let me see if no, I'm gonna have to do it this way. Let me transform selection, if I can. Transform selection, bring it here, and then I'll paint bucket it. Boom. And deselect, and I'm gonna duplicate that and hide one, but I'm going to drag it. Let's see where the center of this is. We'll put the center, and it snaps. I've got my snapping on, so the center is right there. And then with this other one, we'll bring this here, unhide it, and we'll snap the center to that. So it doesn't look, I don't think, like it lines up, but I think that it will. Let me see. It should, if it is aligned properly. I believe that that will kind of, it almost feels like it needs to be bumped up just a little bit. We're gonna have to experiment with that, because it feels like it should be like right there, but you know what? Maybe it doesn't, because I'm looking at it and thinking to myself that the distance between those two artboards has more of the design in it, and it doesn't. They're gonna look, when you put it in Discord on Instagram, like they're smack up against each other, so I think that's perfect. It just looks a little awkward here. So we have like this interesting little design element, which would be cool to kind of add some texture into. That would be neat. Something like that could be interesting. I'm thinking of something else that might be kind of cool to do. Honestly, what we could just do is, let's come into this, let's double click and open up layer styles, and let's do like a inner shadow. Turn the opacity up, crank the angle, and move that distance. Is it doing it to the other one? Oh yeah, it's doing that to the other one. I'm zooming in over here. This might be a little too dark, but honestly, maybe that's kind of cool when it's like solid color like that. I don't know. That could be something interesting to play with. Let's turn the opacity down just slightly, and maybe, yeah, kind of blur it like so. I like that pretty well. Pull that distance back. That could be interesting. So it kind of looks like it's cut in, and I think that we could really benefit from brightening, like lightening this color just a tiny bit. And paint bucketing a lighter color into it so that you really, so that you really see it. So let's do the same thing here. Let's go ahead and go to inner shadow. And the thing about this is that I have it set, using global light. So all of the light and everything is just gonna line up from slide to slide because it's the exact same settings as the other. So we'll just hit OK, that works perfectly. And then let's also paint bucket this in. So everything will line up and it kind of looks like a cutout there in the piece. And then we can kind of put information around it. That could be kind of fun to do. Let me peek at the time. The movie had a few quotable lines. You were absolutely making me proud, VooDoo Val. Oh, I'm so glad. Oh, I'm so glad. Getting Diablo vibes. Oh my gosh, you're kind of right. And Diablo 2 is my favorite game of all time, truly. And so I'm not disappointed if you look at my work and are reminded of Diablo. That makes me very happy. Oh, is the movie Talladega Nights? Okay. You're right. You're absolutely right. It is Talladega. Okay, so we've got our cover. We've got like kind of a swipeable thing going on here. And I do like this, but I almost wonder if we could do a little bit better. I think what I'm gonna do is, let me grab my move tool. Let me grab this artboard and hold shift and grab this artboard. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring these down here and I'm gonna save them because I think that I could kind of implement a cooler idea for this and I want to test it. So that's an idea. Let's go ahead and add another artboard. I believe I would like to bring in our dark background. Because another thing with Instagram that I think, you know, we have to remember, right, is that Instagram is going to show the first 2 slides to your followers as the day changes. So the first day, everybody, when your piece comes up on the timeline, they'll see that first cover. So they'll see this. And then the second day, they will see the very next image. So it kind of gives you 2 chances to really garner a lot of attention. So I think with all of the advice and stuff we've been sharing, we kind of need a super impactful, really powerful image for that second page. And I don't know if this does it, if I just start jumping straight into information. So let's do a diagram, because that's something that I've really wanted to do for this. Let's go ahead and snag my isolated, oh, I think I have it in my other thing because I didn't duplicate that image. Let's go ahead and come over to the cover and I'm gonna duplicate that lantern and throw it over here. And let's turn the fill up on that. And what I'd like to do is kind of talk about what I added here. I think that we could do like a lot of really cool stuff. So we've got like, now it's front and center. You saw it in the, this is way better. You saw it in the cover, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, what's that? And then right when you flip over to it, it's like, whoa, there it is, full color, super crispy. And then we can do something like this. Let's grab our polygonal lasso tool again. And let's grab like an outline. I'm gonna use this just as an outline real quick because I don't want to use the star itself on here, but on a new layer I just want this shape, like a point of interest. So I'm just gonna kind of trace this shape with my polygonal lasso tool, and we'll go ahead and hide that. And I'm going to, actually, let's unhide and I'll sample this color. There we go. And let's, boom, do that. Maybe we need the brighter color. Boom. I like it. We'll hide that star. And I'm gonna convert this to a smart object so that I can resize it and yada yada. And we are gonna denote some points of interest here. So let's make this a little bit smaller. And with my move tool, I'm going to denote the eyes, because I do have something, I have something to say about the coins on the eyes, for sure. I also have something to say. I'm just holding Alt so I can duplicate this. I also have something to say about the little danglies here, for sure. I've got something to say about the teeth, definitely. And I've got something to say about the handle, for sure. So there's like 4 points. Maybe I also have something to say about like how I designed the glass. Maybe I will put this like right here so that it's very visible. And we'll bump this up. Oops, I don't want to duplicate it, but we'll bump that up so it's like right there and not totally parallel with this. Let me go ahead and duplicate that one. So now I have like these little things where all of these little areas of interest are denoted, and I can take my polygonal lasso tool and I can make myself some little call outs. So let's go ahead on a new layer. I will actually group all of these little little points. And underneath there, let's make a new layer and let's come in. And I'm just gonna do like a bloop, 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 bloop. Boom, a little call out. Maybe we won't paint bucket. That is the official industry professional term for when you click. It's the bloop. And then let's go ahead and do another one here. I think this one could be like just long. So we can do like this one just kind of comes out like so. We will do one that comes down like this. And then we will also do one that comes around. Ooh, maybe not like that. We'll do one that goes up kind of and comes out over here. Boom. All right. And let's go ahead and paint bucket these in and see how we feel. Control D for deselect. We could work with this. I don't know. Some of them are a little thick, but let's see what it looks like if we add some lorem ipsum text boxes. Let's see how that works. We'll see. So I'm gonna just hit T on my keyboard, and I'm gonna add like a little text box here. Let's go ahead and move these closer together because I believe that these are like hyper spaced. This is a size 14, so we'll set it to 14 or 15. I want 14 though. 14, come on, 14. I'll just type it. 14. Love it. So there's like a little bit of info there. And then also I think that we should have, let me hit enter. And let's use my other font to write like handle. Or you know what? No. I like handle. Okay. And I'm gonna zoom in here so that we're not so far out. This is pretty tiny, so I might need to, you know, kind of make this a little bit larger. But let's come back to our grandeur. I like it. Let's make this a larger font. Handle. Boom. So we kind of have a little bit of information here. I might subtract because we don't want to, you know, have tons and tons of information here. So just like a sentence really will work well. And then we can make this font slightly larger, I think would be cool. And just have that just like that. And I think that that's like kind of a nice little point of interest. Let's go ahead and bump that. Select my move tool. So we have like a little bit of information here about the handle, which I think is kind of neat. And let's go ahead and duplicate this. I'm going to duplicate it. And let's add a little bit of information about the trinkets. We'll call this trinkets. some trinkets. We will also do... Oops. We will also do teeth. And I'm gonna be funny, or at least I think I'm gonna be funny, and I'm gonna spell it with an F. Teeths. Because that's how you spell it, right? That's teeths. So that could be one of them. And then let's also throw one in here about the glass. We'll just call this glass. I can share some information about when I was illustrating the glass. Kind of a little cool point. And then we also need to have a point of interest for the boatman's coins, for sure. Let me... And I think, like, maybe this section could be a little larger and have, like, kind of a title. I feel like a little bit, these little points of interest are too small. Like, if I'm thinking about how this is gonna read on Instagram, I'm wondering if, like, that is too tiny. So let me actually, let's undo just a tiny bit. I knew that I was, let me redo that. I knew that I was zoomed out a lot for a reason. It should be more, yeah, it should be more like this. That's way better. And then perhaps I don't have as many points of interest because large like this is not going to allow us a lot of room for stuff. So let's call this glass. A little bit of redo here, but I think it'll be well worth it. Oops. Let's change this one, and I'm gonna subtract. Maybe I don't say as much about the teeth. I don't have too much to say about the teeth. Anyways, so, you know, also just kind of give us a variation of size when it comes to these little call outs. Could be cool. So let's put, oops, I keep holding down the button to duplicate. So there's our handle, glass, teeths. Let's go ahead and duplicate this one, and let's change the alignment on it. Alignment, boom. And let's call this trinkets like we had before. Trinkets. Boom. I love it. I think that looks super cool. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm really pleased with this. It definitely needed something larger. So we got our trinkets, and then lastly, we will duplicate this one last time, and we will make the one about the coins. Coins. All right, cool. So we've kind of got like an interesting little thing going on here, which I like, but I wonder if we could do something even more interesting to this. And we have like, I don't know how many minutes, like a little under 10 minutes. We could do something like this. I'm gonna experiment real quick as we kind of get through this. I'm gonna duplicate our lantern and hide. I'm also going to select all of these and merge it. This could be a hit, or this could be real bad. I'm gonna go ahead and mask out the like all this. I'm gonna mask it all out, and I'm gonna create a line art, or an outline at least, of our piece. Let me make sure my smoothing is off. Actually, let me grab a better, there's a better pen for this, or a better brush for this. Let me grab like a hard round. It's gonna be a little wonky, but bear with me. This could be a good idea, or this could be like a... Val, do you even professional? Do you even know how to professional? Quick, 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 Val. There's a little bit of fallout here, but this could be, you know, this will be very conceptual. But if I wanted to do something like this, where I wanted, like, the outline of, you know, something like this. So I've got our guy here, and then I want to, let me go ahead and rasterize this. Can I raster? Convert to smart object and raster. Where are you? Sometimes I miss it. You guys ever miss where it says to rasterize? Rasterize layers. Right there in front of my face, but I miss it all the time. And then I'm gonna come into the layer styles, and let's see. This could work, or this could not work. Let's do a stroke. I'm gonna fly with it because it's a little gritty and weird. Let's go ahead and say yes to this. Let's select like a tan. Make it like that. Bear with me, folks. It's sketchy and it's strange and it's weird, but just trust me. Or don't, because I also don't know how this is going to turn out. Let's turn the fill down on that, okay? And let's, just with my eraser brush, since we don't have the mask on there anymore, let's go ahead and remove some of this stuff just so that it's sketchy and strange. Boom, boom, boom. Kind of cool, kind of weird. And let's see if throwing this in the background adds some interesting texture to it. I don't know. Maybe it's weird. Let's go ahead and rasterize that. Turn our boat layer back on. Throw that back here. Let's turn that group back on. And let's turn this on a lower fill. So it's like kind of crazy. And let's offset it. Could do something like weird like this. So there's like some strange line art in the back. Let's turn it even lower fill, or maybe we do opacity. I don't know if that changes it too much really, but we could do like this strange overlay of texture just in the back, so it's not like totally crazy and empty. And then we could take our brush on a soft round and a dissolve. Grab this purple. Oop, oop. What are you doing to me? Grab a dark color. How are we doing on time? About 3 minutes. And then we could come in and start to kind of change it up. I don't know. You see where I'm going, though? You see how, like, we could kind of start making something interesting with this? Like, just adding, like, kind of a weird shape. I'm using my imagination, chat. That's what it's all about, right? And make a new layer. We'll do like this light color here, and then kind of turn that on a lower opacity. So there's just like some, you know, because I don't have any line art for this, because I merged my layers as I painted. I don't have like line art sketches. So this could be interesting in some way, just to kind of do some weird stuff like this. Something cool. Have a little something in the background. Exactly, Val, you're doing great though. Love how this is coming out. I'm so glad that you like it. We do have to take off because I am pretty much out of time. But I am going to finish this, and I'm going to post a little bit more for the case study. I'm actually going to post the case study itself. I hope this has given you guys a good starting point for how to put a case study together. Always feel free to refer to these VODs if you need more support in the future. I can't wait for you to see the finished project, and I can't wait to see what you post if you guys want to use the hashtag Adobe Live CreaTips. Show me what you're working on. And I will see you bright and early tomorrow for episode 2 of the illustration boot camp. All right, folks, thanks so much for joining me. I will see you later.